back live already. It's like a couple minutes later. But I just had a really good idea. Like I was talking about how, like, libertarianism, or the philosophy of also neoliberalism, freedom, they even call it. You could call it freedom. But what they really want is to destroy the public sector. They don't want to end war. They want to privatize it. Literally, that's the plan. I mean, when you think I'm joking, it's just like, some people, that's the thing, is there are libertarians out there who have like real views, and they're truish. They're coming from a genuine place, but they're confused because if you get rid of obviously government, then you don't have voting or something. I mean, how is the control supposed to come about? Who is supposed to be the legitimate holder of military power in the world? We do have a world. We have the UN now, which I guess was created by basically the US, right, and our allies to police the world in a sense. We don't even really let them have their say when it comes to something like the Israelis, just whacking children protesters. So that's not a problem for I don't know how many. Anyways, let's get back to this. What I was talking about is obviously that's why it's ridiculous if there's no democratic control and you just privatize everything. Then you have a sort of feudalism, a sort of kingdom or something. So it's just it's really just not in any way logical. And I was just talking about in the last video about how people with supposedly with autism are not supposed to be able to. They figured out that they can't be a fascist. It's just so weird that so weirdly, but it's just not logical. I'm just a logical thinker, just more logical than a normal person, just a regular guy. But I'm just obviously, my brain thinks about weird stuff like this for whatever reason. I mean, we all like to think about this shit. But the fact that people want to understand that the reason there's so much of this shit out there, the propaganda, all these fools spouting the same thing, is because it's, when they say it's because the Patreon accounts are not even necessarily, or even the views. I don't know that necessarily the views are even, if it's really even all legit. In what way, we don't even know. It could be there's ways to make it look like there's lots of views and even generate views from view farms wherever all over. We don't know where everything's it's just impossible to know the level of legitimacy it has, because it could have totally, it could essentially, I think it's half and half, but we don't know who's legit and who isn't. And the reason that you hear about this person, where does this person come from? Where's this person? Oh, they're with this person, which I would like to make allies and try to maybe grow my show and patronize myself. And, so certainly that's apparently the easiest way. I'd probably have 1 million friends if I was somehow, and there's probably amateurs, I think this one guy, Esoteric Entity, I don't know how, but maybe they're getting he's working at Taco Bell. He's making, $100, $200 a month in his Patreon account. That's a big deal for someone in that situation in life, but he's for some reason doesn't realize it's not the government doing it. It's the people, the criminal gang, who's obviously controlling the government. And what I wanted to talk about is, what was the idea? What's the great idea? Okay, where did I write it down? Fuck, man. I wrote this down somewhere. Okay, I'll just say what it was. I wrote it down right there. Fuck, man. Okay. Oh, I wrote it even in the title, but it's blockchain voting. It's simple. I would say they're a criminal gang. Them stealing this in through whatever the way they're doing it. They're basically doing it through bank magic. We call it bank magic. That's how it's done. Where does money come from? Bank magic. If you don't know, I'm just saying, trust me on this. It doesn't come from, it does come from labor in a way. I mean, that's like, I guess that's like the labor theory of value is like, what value does it have? Is if it's just a paper that's owned by Jeff like, what does that really mean that he has 180 billion? He can't eat 180 billion dollars worth of meat in his life, or live in 180 billion dollars worth of rooms, or he can only, how much could he, what purpose? It obviously doesn't serve a purpose. So why not a people's court? The people's court. Oh no, I'm weird on stomach. Okay. Blockchain voting. We have a thing now where everyone can look at what everyone's voting. That's how the cryptocurrency works. So why can't voting work by blockchain? I'm sure someone's suggested this exact same thing probably a million times, but it just occurred to me. So it just seems like, what? But why don't we have like a blockchain people's court where we can, of course, I mean, you can't usurp the power, the authority of the state. In this case, we want to take the legitimate authority of the state by legitimate means, and the 1% has conspired to do this because actually it was all held in the hands of the great white fathers of the country who, still basically. That's a good question. How much, like, we know Bezos has $180 billion, but like, how much does, like, whoever been sitting on their money for that long? Do those people really not have massive amounts of money because it's not going into or are they somehow consenting? And is there, I don't think, how do they get away with it? Why would anyone want Bezos? Like, Trump doesn't want Bezos to have 180, because really, the way Bezos makes money is just totally, in a way, just total fraudulent exploitation and sucking off wealth of, humanity. Is not really adding anything to. Yeah, it's great that, but he's like reducing the wages people live in misery, sucking all that money out of the system, where really let's take I say, don't take, like, oh, if we took half of it. No, I'm not saying like ritual. Let's take it all. Let's take it all. And if he wants to keep, let's give him $1 billion. Let's make it $1 billion. And if you want to, like, figure out something useful to do with your life, these people are such geniuses. Hoarding money should not be the purpose of it. Just doesn't make any logical sense. And the fact that, like, if we stopped allowing people to hoard money, that's what they want you to believe, then that would lead to misery, catastrophe, etc. Well, this is like a new type of hoarding that we haven't seen since the last type of catastrophe that we had. That was the catastrophe. And then we had Roosevelt, and we had the fixing the catastrophe. So if you don't want the catastrophe to happen, that's already happening to the Earth, because they are, like, killing the planet, because of the, people are running all over it, chopping it all up, fracking it. People are like 800, there's the fracking, and it's like it's destroying just the natural world. And there's no reason, because it's not, if you're just using that to, like, put money in Jeff Bezos' foreign bank account so he can just, like, it's just like the philosophical, they have nothing to stand on. That's the thing, is it's just such a weak freaking, the lizardtarian, ideology. But that is indeed the ideology of the 1% criminal gang, you know. So I can't do it alone, but I just want to put out there the idea of a people's court, a blockchain court, where we charge the 1% with structural murder. Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to finish with the song. Adios. Ending it.